Yes, an interview with Chesney Snow, y'all.
What's good? What's good?
All the way from
Brooklyn.
Yeah. So tell us, who is Chesney Snow?
Well, Chesney Snow. I'm a beatboxer. I'm a poet. I'm a writer. I'm an activist. I'm an educator. I am the whole package. I'm a whole artist, and I represent the fifth element, which is the vibration.
And tell us about your brand new beat machine that you're coming out with.
Well, right now I'm the only beatboxer on planet Earth that is actually a beat machine. I have a beat machine out. It's called the Beat Thing, and it's me and my fam, the Beat Kings, put it out. The software version last year, and right now we're getting ready to hit you with the hardware. For those of you who are already in the know, Rockwilder is doing pretty much all of Method Man's album on our software, on our Beat Thing, and so it's really sick. You need to be watching out for it.
And tell us about your exposure with MTV.
MTV, a couple years ago. Oh man, it was years ago now, like 2006. I was a special featured guest on MTV Unplugged, Kaya in Europe. The record went gold. It got that was like actually the thing that probably put me on the map in terms of people saying, "Yo, who's that guy?" So it was a really big blessing for me, and it was a great learning experience. It was an incredible experience actually. Kaya is a superstar in Europe. She's like an icon in Poland. Brilliant singer, brilliant musician, and my family. She's my friend.
And also tell us about your remix with Asher Roth.
Well, last year, it was like around this time last year, I did an official remix for a platinum single called "I Love College," where basically the entire beat, all the percussion, was basically my sound, my voice, my beatboxing. From everything from the hook to the beat, and when you hear it, when you hear it, you can go to my MySpace page, myspace.com/ChesneySnow, and you can check that little thump that you hear that gets in your gut. That's all me. That's 100%.
And also tell us what it's like to rock with KRS on stage, doing one of your famous beatboxes.
Well, the KRS performance was, it's kind of like a surreal experience. I'll give you a short snippet of what happened. Literally a month before the KRS show, Bambaataa had invited us down to promote the Beat Machine at his anniversary, and we were really honored that Bam is a big fan of the Beat Thing. He's been really good to us. We consider Zulu fam, and KRS was one of the headliners that night, and so he's rocking the show, and that's the first time I ever seen KRS rock live, and he came out to the crowd, and he was standing right in front of me, right, just killing it, and then all of a sudden there was a big pow, right, the speakers just blew out, all the sound system blew out, and I was thinking right there, I was like, yo, this is my moment right here, so this is what it's supposed to be about. I should just start beatboxing, just rocking with him right there. And then something said inside of my head said, no, it's not the time, it's not the time. So literally a month later on my birthday night, it's like I had just turned 31. I'm putting my age out there. I had just turned 31. And the next thing I knew, Chris had stopped and said, will the beatboxer please step forward? And, the next thing I know, I'm being dragged through the crowd, and I'm up on stage, and he said, introduce yourself. And so, I laid down some beatbox, and he completely flipped out, you know what I'm saying, because he had never heard anyone articulate the beatbox the way I do. And so, I was like humbled, I was honored, and then we just killed it right there, freestyling. It was like a surreal experience. And he was really gracious afterwards. We exchanged info, and hopefully we're supposed to be getting together to work soon. Backstage, he was like, "Yo, I want to work with you," and I was just like, humbled, because you grew up. I would have never thought, that I would be rocking with KRS as a kid. I grew up as a 80s baby listening to hip hop, and anybody who grew up in the 80s listening to hip hop, you know, recognizes KRS as like one of the illest MCs ever. You know, so yeah, that was just a surreal honor, and really told me about the power of vibration.
And also tell us about your experience of one of your largest live shows that you've ever rocked in the world.
The largest live show I ever rocked in the world was like a year after MTV Unplugged. Kaya brought me back to Europe. We had a show on the Baltic Sea called the Sopot Festival. It was really spur of the moment. Everything, it's probably between 20 and 30,000 people in the audience. It was broadcast live to over 9 million people. That's a big audience, 9 million people. If you can just gather your head, that's almost the entire city of New York. You know what I mean? And that was probably the moment where I realized that I was living my dream. You know, when I was coming up, I always wanted to be a performer. I always wanted to create, but you know, I didn't know that beatboxing was a thing that was going to take me around the world and, you know, put me on gold, platinum, you know, recordings. But there was this moment of clarity when I'm standing out there in front of, you know, tens of thousands of people and millions of people watching, that there was like this moment of self-reflection where I could see myself and realize, and I said to myself right before I started to do anything, you know, fuck, you know, I'm living my dream, you know. So, you know, to see myself up on the big screens and you know, it was just, that was probably the most impactful, memorable, largest experience. And then, you know, when I got done with it, it was like that gave people an opportunity to see my music. At the time, this was years ago, to see my music and to really get to know about me. And that's when my MySpace started to get bigger, and it really kind of put me on the map in terms of you know, rocking large shows and stuff. Yeah.
And tell us about your experience in rocking with Kenny, Mohammed, and Scratch from The Roots.
Well, you know, with Kenny, the first time that I rocked the stage, first time I shared a stage with Kenny, that was years ago. That was actually when I was just coming up in the beatboxing circuit in New York City. You know, there was a crew of us who would be performing, and you know, I was really in awe of the way Kenny performed, but not just like, you know, his technique and how he would, you know, rock the mic, but really just his soul, his person. You know, like he really brings, you know, his spirituality to his beatboxing, and I think, you know, for younger cats, you know, for beatboxers, I think a lot of the times people think of beatboxing as, I'm just gonna make a beat, you know what I mean, and they don't really go into it from a musicianship standpoint. You know, some people, you know, kind of treat it like it's kind of like a trick that I'm gonna do, and the crowd's gonna go wild on it. But you know, when you watch someone like Kenny, you know, he really does bring his spirituality and his soul into his performances. That's one of the things that I think distinguishes him. In terms of Scratch, I did a show with Scratch out in Philly. And it was like outside of Philly with my fam at Club Espo and Kushapalooza. You know, those are like my fam. That's my fam. The show with Scratch, you know, that was like, you know, Scratch is a very special beatboxer, you know, because he, not only has he mastered the Scratch, but he's mastered the rocking of the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, there's a science that goes into rocking a crowd, and he goes into like doing different voices, and it's almost like you're watching a skit. You know what I mean? Like he's almost like a storyteller with his beatboxing. You know, so you know, for me, I really looked up to Scratch when I was listening to The Roots. You know, and so, you know, I remember the very first time I shared a stage with Scratch. It was like, I was so in awe, you know, because I had grown up as a teenager listening to The Roots, and you know, just to be on the same stage with him, I was really inspired. And then to watch him grow as an artist, and to see the expertise and the the science that he does, that he puts into his work. I mean, it's almost like he'll throw subliminals inside of his stuff. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think he's a master on that loop pedal, and I was really honored to to get love from him and to receive blessings from him. He gave me his blessing, and I was